Hello everyone. I hope you all are fit and fine at your places. I'm Priyanka Bish from Arden Progressive School, and in today's session we will be continuing with the fourth chapter of business studies, which is business services. So as in the previous class we have studied about the meaning and concept of services, what are the types of services, also we have discussed about the features of services. So, the topic which we will be covering in this session will be banking services. Now, as we know, bank basically is an institution which accepts the money from the public and it lends the money to the borrowers. So, we can say it is an institution which attracts money on deposits for the purpose of being lent to the industry or trade. The money which is accepted by the public, the same money is lent to the borrowers by the banks. Now, a bank earns a margin of profit by lending money which it borrows. Now, here, when the bank is lending money to the borrower, bank is charging some interest on that money. So, that interest is basically a profit margin for the banks. According to the Indian Banking Regulation Act 1949, banking means accepting deposits of money from the public for the purpose of lending or investment. So this will be the definition for banking services. Now next is types of banks. So banks can be classified into the following. First is commercial banks, then cooperative banks, then specialized banks and central bank. These are the types of bank which provides different services to the different customers. First, we will talk about commercial banks. Now, commercial banks are the institutions dealing in money. These are basically governed by Indian Banking Regulation Act 1949, and according to it, banking means accepting deposits of money from the public for the purpose of lending or investment. So here commercial banks are the banks which basically functions on accepting the deposit of money from the public and lending the same money to the investors or borrowers. So there are two types of commercial banks, public sector and private sector. We have already discussed about the difference between public sector and private sector in the previous chapter. So it is also categorized in banking system. Now, public sector banks are those banks in which the government has a major stake and they usually need to emphasize on social objectives than on profitability. So basically the motive of public sector bank is to provide services rather than earning profit. Profitability is also the motive of bank, public sector bank, but it is a secondary motive. First motive is, or the primary motive is, to provide services to the customer. Next is private sector banks. So private sector banks, they are the banks which are owned, managed and controlled by the private promoters and they are free to operate as per market forces. So the basic difference between public sector banks and private sector banks is public sector banks are owned, managed and controlled by the government, whereas private sector banks are owned, managed and controlled by the private promoters. Only the difference is the functions of both the types of banks are same. Difference is in their services. They provide different services to different customers. Examples of public sector banks can be SBI, State Bank of India, PNB, IOB, etc. And some examples of private sector banks are HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Kotak Mahindra Bank, Jammu and Kashmir Bank, etc. So this was the first type of bank, which was commercial bank. Now second type of bank is cooperative banks. The cooperative banks are governed by the provisions of State Cooperative Societies Act and meant essentially for providing cheap credit to their members. So basically cooperative banks also functions the same thing. It accepts the deposits from the public and it also lends the amount of money to the borrowers. But here the difference is it basically provides cheap credit to their members. That means the interest rate is not more than the commercial banks. interest is less than the commercial bank. So basically it is an important source of rural credit, that is agricultural financing in India, etc. Now next is specialized bank. So specialized bank are the foreign exchange banks, industrial banks, development banks, export import banks catering to specific needs of these unique activities. These banks provide financial aid to industries, heavy turnkey projects and foreign trade. So these banks are specialized for the industries or the other project of foreign trade. So if there is any finance required for any project or any industries need the finance, it can take the finance from specialized bank. Next we have central bank. So the central bank of any country supervises, controls and regulate the activities of all the commercial banks of that country. So we can say central bank is the head of all the banks. It controls the operations or activities of all the types of banks, whether it is commercial banks, cooperative banks or specialized bank. It also acts as a government banker. It controls and coordinates the currencies and credit policy of any country. Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of our country. So every country has its central bank. In India, central bank is known as Reserve Bank of India, which controls all the banking system of the country. Now the next topic is functions of commercial banks. So there are different functions of commercial bank. First function is acceptance of deposit. Deposits are the basis of the loan operations. We know by these deposits only the bank lends the money to the borrowers. So banks are both borrowers and lenders of money. As borrowers they pay interest, and as lenders they grant loans and get the interest. So here bank borrows the money from the public in the form of deposit and then grant the same amount as a loan to the investors or borrowers. These deposits are generally taken through current account, savings account and fixed deposit. Now whatever amount which is deposited by the customer, it is deposited either into the current account or savings account or fixed deposit account. Current account deposit can be withdrawn to the extent of balance at any time without any prior notice. So current account are basically opened by the businessman who have day-to-day transaction. So amount can be withdrawn from current account at any time and any extent of balance can be withdrawn from current account. But in savings account, there are various rules which is implemented by the RBI and which is to be followed by all the banks. Saving accounts are basically for encouraging savings by the individuals. Bank pay the rate of interest as decided by the RBI on these deposits. So whatever amount public is depositing into bank is paying rate of interest which is decided by RBI to the customers. Withdrawal from these accounts, it has some restrictions. Then fixed accounts are time deposit accounts with higher rate of interest as compared to saving accounts. So bank basically pay higher rate of interest on fixed deposit account in comparison to saving accounts. A premature withdrawal is permissible with a percentage of interest being forfeited. Now even in the fixed deposit account, if you are depositing some money, it will be deposited for a specific period of time. For say if we have deposited some money in fixed deposit for 5 years. Now if I will be withdrawing the money before 5 years, then there will be some penalty to be paid and it is a premature, it will be called as premature withdrawal, and the interest rate in fixed deposit account is much higher than saving accounts. Next we have lending of funds. Now the second major activity of commercial bank is to provide loans and advances out of the money received through deposit. So whatever money which is received by the bank through deposit from the public, this amount is used for lending or granting the loan to the borrowers. So these loans or advances can be made in the form of overdraft, cash, credit, discounting trade bills, term loans, consumer credits, and other miscellaneous advances. So the funds lent out by the bank, it contribute a great deal to trade, industry, transport, and other businesses. So lending of fund is also a function of the bank, where the bank lends the money to the borrower, and it may also lend the money in the form of check, draft, and discounting bill, etc. Then we have check facility. So bank render a very important service to their customer by collecting their check drawn on the other bank. For example, if we have to make payment to some other party, so instead of paying the cash, we can easily pay it with a check. We can sign our check and we can deposit that check into the supplier's account. The check is the most developed credit instrument. Check is a credit instrument, a unique feature and function of bank for the withdrawal of deposit. It is the most convenient and inexpensive medium of exchange. We can say it is most convenient medium of exchange. Instead of paying cash, we can easily pay the amount in the form of check. So mainly there are two types of check. First is bearer checks, which are encashable immediately at bank counters. So bearer check means if I have received the payment from the customer and the customer has paid the amount in the form of check, and we can easily encash that check by depositing it into bank. So it is called bearer check. Second is cross check, which are to be deposited only in the payee's account. Next is remittance of funds. So this is the another function of commercial bank of providing the facility of fund transfer from one place to another on account of the interconnectivity of branches. So remittance of funds is the services which is provided to the customer, where customer can transfer their funds from one bank or from one account to another account. The transfer of funds can be in order or mail transfers or normal commission charges. The bank issues a draft for the amount on its own branches at other places or other banks at those places. So by the interconnectivity of branches, the bank can issue a draft of the amount on its own branches or at the other places or the other bank of those places. The payee can present the draft on the drawee's bank at his place and collect the amount. So the remittance of funds is the good service which is provided by the bank to the customer. Then last we have allied services. So in addition to the above functions, banks also provide allied services such as bill payments, locker facilities, underwriting services, etc. So we can easily pay the bill through bank also. There is some locker facility also if you want to secure our jewelries in the bank, so it can locker facilities provided. Then underwriting services, they also perform other services like buying and selling of shares and debentures on instruction, and other personal services like payment of insurance premium, collection of dividend, etc. So banks also provide the facility of selling the shares on debentures through banks, also online payment of insurance premium, collection of dividend, etc. These facilities are also provided by the banks. Now next we have e-banking. So e-banking basically means internet banking. Now the latest wave in information technology is internet banking. It is a part of virtual banking and another delivery channel for customers. So e-banking can also be called as digital payment or electronic functions of bank. It is basically a system of making online payment without involving physical exchange of money. The money is transferred from one account of payer to the account of receiver through internet. So we can say there can be fund transfer through internet. Internet banking means any user with a PC and a browser, they can get connected to the bank's website to perform any of the virtual banking functions and avail any of the bank services. Nowadays, through internet banking, we can easily open our bank account through internet. Also, we can transfer our funds from one place to another, or from if we have to transfer the money to some other person's account, we can easily transfer through internet banking. So internet banking also provides us all the services It is a convenient method, or it is convenient system for the customers, where the customers can easily perform all the banking services through internet. There is no human operator to respond to the needs of the customer. The bank has a centralized database that is web enabled. All the services that the bank has permitted on the internet, they are displayed on a menu. So any services can be selected and further interaction is dictated by the nature of service. So basically, these types of services which are provided by the banks on the internet, these are called internet banking. It lowers the transaction cost, it adds the value to the banking relationship, it also empowers the customers. E-banking is electronic banking or banking using electronic media. So we can say e-banking is a services provided by many banks that allows a customer to conduct banking transaction. So here, managing savings, checking accounts, applying for loans, or paying bills over the internet using a personal computer, mobile telephone, or handheld computer, etc. Automated teller machine, which is ATM, point of sales, etc. These are some services which are provided by the banks through internet. So there are two ways in which electronic bank transfer can be done, EFT can be done, which is NEFT and RTGS. NEFT means National Electronic Fund Transfer. Under this, the fund is directly transferred from one account to another. Now, direct transfer, it helps both the parties from inconvenience of drawing check, depositing check, etc. The key difference between NEFT and RTGS. RTGS is real time gross settlement. The basic difference between NEFT and RTGS is that RTGS is on gross settlement basis, whereas NEFT is net settlement basis. That means the minimum transaction value of RTGS is 2 lakh, whereas there is no minimum value for NEFT. And RTGS facilities are available in over 72,000 branches, whereas NEFT is available in 75,000 branches of bank. So there are two ways by which the funds can be transferred, NEFT and RTGS. So here are some benefits of e-banking, electronic banking. E-banking facilitates digital payments and promotes transparency in financial statements. E-banking provides 24 hours, 365 days a year services to the customers of the bank. Customers can make some of the permitted transactions from office to house or while traveling via mobile telephone. It inculcates a sense of financial discipline by recording each and every transactions. Greater customer satisfaction by offering unlimited access to the bank, not limited by the walls of the branch, and less risk and greater security to the customers as they can avoid traveling with cash. Internet banking basically facilitates the customer by doing the transaction from home only. They don't need to go to the bank. They don't need their physical existence in the bank. So it basically benefits the customer. E-banking provides competitive advantage to the bank. E-banking provides unlimited network to the banks and is not limited to the number of branches. Any PC connected to a modem and a telephone having an internet connection, it can provide cash withdrawal needs of the customers. Load on branches can be considerably reduced by establishing centralized database and by taking over some of the accounting functions. So these were some benefits of e-banking, which was electronic banking, which is most popular in the recent time, and it also facilitates the customers. It also provides convenience to the customers. Customers can easily do banking transaction from home. Banks provides the services to the customer through internet. So it is more popular these days. So in this session, we have covered the topic of banking services. We have learned about what are banking services, what are types of banks, functions of banks, and also about electronic banking. In the next session, we'll be discussing about the other types of business services. That's all for today. Thank you.